Stavros?
Yes. Hi. Business owners, residents, it's true. We all deserve a safe, comfortable environment. And thank you, Mr. Mayor, for bringing it to our attention that it's not just us members of the community, but the people that are homeless are also members of the community, and they just as much as we do deserve a safe and comfortable environment. I've been upset about the lack of compassion that I see. At a recent neighborhood meeting about the homeless, I heard people equating the homeless with child abusers, felons, criminals. Generalizations are violence. It reminds me of a recent president who equated Mexicans with drug dealers, criminals, and rapists. Generalizations are violent. Racism, sexism, homophobia, anti-homelessness, these are all forms of discrimination based on unfair and inaccurate generalizations.
Essential. I think a lot of things, a lot of frustration we're hearing tonight is coming from people that have been living in the dark about information along the way, and that includes me. It's frustrating because we were all so into this and we're so behind it. I want to just point out really quickly, I don't want to dote too much on the resolution, but I want to point out for people, and please hear me here, these vehicles and RVs and cars that people are living in are emergency shelter. They're emergency shelter because they have nowhere else to go. There's nothing else for them. So imagine being told that you could possibly lose the only shelter you have, the panic and the trauma that people are in. That kind of trauma is violence towards these people, and that is a crime. Lastly, and I know that we're kind of limited in the way council meetings are done and the way people can participate, but I look through all these written comments and I'm listening so far. I doubt we're going to hear much from the people who are actually living in these vehicles out there. And we need to hear from the people living on the street. They need to have a voice in this. And through this platform and this way of doing business, they just don't have a platform to stick up for themselves and to make these statements on their behalf. So thank you all very much. Good night.
Is Kathleen Williams?
It's pretty much her whole comment for her.
Good. My name is Kathleen Williams, and I'm here tonight representing the Sacramento Homeless Organizing Committee, which is a 20-year-old organization that has developed policy and amplified the voice of the unhoused. We support the resolution. It is rational. It is rational to place people, and I'm not talking about temporary placement. I'm talking about indefinite placement and appropriate placement before you tow their vehicles, before you force them to move on. It is rational because they're not going to disappear. Many of the business people seem to believe, though this is an outmoded belief, that we can arrest our way out of this problem. Are you going to put people in jail, as the city has done, and cite them and fine them for being outside when their poverty is so dire that they can't afford housing? The city's comprehensive plan, as far as it goes, includes no robust housing element. We are getting funds from the federal government and other places. We need the houses. If they're tiny houses, fine, but that is the direction forward. One thing I noticed about the business people is that they have no solution. They have no plan. They're not setting up employment intake or otherwise. And I criticize them for that. It's not only that they think only of themselves, it's also that they have no plan.
Correct.
So we support the resolution. I think they oppose this plan, not because it's significant, but because they don't want to see the city council countenance any appeal from homeless people for housing and decent treatment. Thank you.
Thank you for your.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, Shelly Williams, District 2 and concerned parent. And what I'm concerned about is how to explain to my 6-year-old child who goes out every weekend with us, serving meals and distributing supplies to our unhoused neighbors, while entire communities that we've gotten to know are gone. He knew the people at Commerce and Lathrop. He knew the people at Diaz. And there's nothing that drives home the inhumanity and violence of what this city is doing more than trying to explain it to a child. I obviously support the ordinance to prohibit the state-sanctioned theft of shelter vehicles. And further, I demand the city cover the cost to return these impounded vehicles back to the individuals and families they were taken from. Families were ripped apart in these sweeps. People were left entirely unsheltered during freezing rain, which was very much in the forecast when these sweeps were called. The city must prioritize permanent supportive housing above all else. And in the meantime, you need to provide adequate sanitation, water, and restroom services to these communities. Because despite what local business owners would obviously prefer, you cannot disappear 11,000 human beings. I also think it's horrible how these Chamber of Commerce ghouls will hold an entire press conference the day after a terrible storm and organize to astroturf this meeting during hours the rest of us have to work, because it's actually literally part of their job to influence you so that your policies maximize their profits and their comfort. This entire system is tilted in their favor at every turn, and despite being a minority, they have the loudest voice in this community. So please just do the right thing tonight and pass this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.